This video is intended for you to view after you have completed the problems for August 7th, for the week of August 7th. So here's a look at the answers. So why don't you check yourself over real quick? This way you only have to watch the questions that you got wrong. So let's get started. First we have to write the equation of a line, of this line, in slope-intercept form. So you can tell from the picture that the y-intercept, the b, is -1. And you can also easily identify the slope from the picture. Just pick 2 points that go through at corners and find the rows of a run. So it rose 1, it ran 3, so the m is the third. Now to put it together in slope-intercept form, y equals 1/3 x minus 1. Now we have to write the equation of a line still in slope-intercept form that passes through a certain point and is parallel to this line of y equals -2. Well, this is a special case because if the equation of the line is just y equals -2, that's a horizontal line. So this is the line of y equals -2. So if it's going to be parallel to this line and go through the point -3, 1, then it must also be a horizontal line. So it must also have an equation that's y equals a number. And here, that number is 1, because that's the y value of that line. Now we have to write the equation of a line given 2 points. So the first thing that you must do is to find the slope between those 2 points. So the slope is y1 minus y2. Doesn't matter which one you do first as long as you're consistent. And then the x's. So now you know what your slope is. So now you have 2 options. You can solve for the b directly by using slope-intercept form, or you can put the line into point slope form and then translate it from there. I think I'm going to put the line into point slope form. So here I have y minus, you can just choose any of the points. I'll choose this one. So y minus the y value equals m times x minus the x value. Now let's distribute. And then we're going to solve for y. So it's going to require a little adding fractions here. So let's find the common denominator quickly. So I have to do 5 minus 2/5. Well, that's really 25/5 minus 2/5. So that is 23/5. I'll just use that as part of circle. Alright, now we're going to sketch some graphs of lines. So here, if the x-intercept is 3, x-intercept is just a term that we use for where the line crosses the x-axis, and the y-intercept is also 3. This gives you 2 points, and you can just graph a line. And this equation is kind of wonky, so it's probably easiest to solve for y so that we can easily see the slope of the y-intercept. So I'm just going to add 2y to the other side so that the y is almost alone. Switch things around because I think you guys like to see it this way. So I just did a little rearranging, making sure to keep the signs right. And divide every term by 2. So the y-intercept of this line is 3 and the slope is 3 over 2. So up 3 over 2, down 3, left 2, down 3, left 2, and so on. So similar idea here, except that this is an inequality, so we have to keep in mind whether our line will be dashed or solid, and whether we're shading above or below. The y-intercept is 5, and the slope is 2/3, so I'm going up 2 and over 3, doesn't really fit. You can also go down 2 and to the left 3, down 2 and to the left 3. Because the line is greater than or equal to, it's a solid line, which means I want to include the points that lie on the line. And its y is greater than, so I shade above. So now let's do the solution to this system of inequalities. It's very similar to the last problem, except that you're graphing 2 inequalities at once. So I would suggest to solve each of these inequalities for y. So let's subtract 2x from both sides for the top one. And then let's divide by the negative so that the y is alone. But keep in mind that when you divide by a negative, you have to switch the direction of the inequality. And now just graph as usual. Y-intercept is 2, slope is 2. Line is solid, and you're shading above it, so I'm going to shade this one above. Now let's do the same thing, but with the other inequality. So I'm also going to solve this one for y. So I have 2y is less than negative x minus 6. And then I'm going to divide everybody by 2. Because 2 is positive, I don't need to switch the direction of the inequality. So my y-intercept is negative 3. And I'm going down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2. And because it's just less than, not less than or equal to, it's a dashed line. And I'm shading below. So now my overlap is just this region here, where both of them are shaded. Now I'm just going to solve this equation for the variable here. So we're trying to manipulate everything to isolate A. So first let's distribute. Keep in mind order of operations. And now let's combine some like terms. At 22 both sides. So 492 equals 24A. I don't know what that is off the top of my head. Maybe 8? Let's try it. Yeah, good guess. Alright, so A equals 8. Okay, so now let's solve the system by substitution. So when you're using substitution, you want to solve one of the equations for one variable. It looks like the top equation will be easiest to do that because there's no coefficient on the x. So I'm going to solve this equation for x. And again, 3y minus 10. I'm going to substitute that back into this equation. So essentially I've combined these equations into one and I've eliminated the x. Now I'm just going to solve the equation as I normally would. As we did in the last example, combine like terms and add the 70 over. Oh, I can't add 76. Sorry about that. And then divide by 19. So now I know that y is 4. So once I know that y is 4, I still need to solve for the x. So you can use any of the equations that you wish to do that. I'm just going to use this one because x is already 11. So x equals 3 times 4 minus 10. So x is 2, which means that these two lines intersect at the point 2, 4. Now I'm going to try to graph this absolute value inequality on another line. The first thing that I want to do is isolate the thing that's in absolute values before I split it into two equations. So after I add the 5, I'm left with this. Because this is a less than problem, an absolute value, it becomes an and problem. I prefer to write these and problems in a situation like this. So when you do that, this problem stays the same. And I'm also including that this quantity, negative 3 plus p, has to be greater than or equal to negative 1. So now this is makes it convenient because you can add to all 3 sides. You end up with 2 is less than or equal to p, is less than or equal to 4. So when you graph it on the number line, it's solid circles because I want to include the 2 and the 4, and you just shade it between. So now to find each product here, it's just a matter of distributing. You guys often call this boiling. So that times that is 8x squared plus 3x minus 16x minus 6. Now we're just going to combine like terms. And that's our answer. So let's do a little bit of exponent work. So when you simplify an expression like this, I suggest to do it one piece at a time. So let's do the constants first. So there's only a 3, there's no one to multiply them with, so he just stays a 3. Now, at the a's, a squared also doesn't have anyone to combine with, so it just stays. And then I have b squared times b cubed. When you're multiplying, that you add the powers, so this becomes 3. Factoring, yay. All right, so before you start factoring, you should always look for a GCF. So here, it looks like our GCF will be 6. So if I take a 6 out of everyone, that becomes 7n squared plus 10n plus 3. Now I would suggest that you factor this by guess and check. So the way that I think about that is I try to make the 7n squared work out first. So it's going to have to be 7n and n. So now the only choices for this one, it has to be 3 and a 1. If I wanted to add to 10, 3 is going to have to go here, and then 1's going to have to go here. I know this takes a little bit of practice. And then if you check by foiling, those 2 make 7n squared, those 2 make 3, and then if you do foil, we'll take a little happy face. You get 10n, so that's the correct answer. And for this problem, there is no GCF, so you can just start right away. Once again, 5x squared can only be 5x. That's the only, possibility. So now I'm just going to play around with it a little bit until I can make it work out to 28. So let's just try. Let's do 3 and 4. So if I do 3 and 4, I get 20 and 3. That's not 28, so that's not 4. Just trying to get used to my thought process. So maybe I can do 6 and 2. Because that'll make 30 and 2. So if I subtract them, I'll get 28. I want the 28 to be negative, so I'm going to make the 30 minus 30 and plus 2. That works. Okay, thanks. Good job, guys.